Couple of bits of big news that might have huge ramifications for Hedera Hashgraph and its ecosystem. The first one is to do with John Kiko, who was formerly the Director of Business Development at Fidelity's digital asset management sort of arm. Fidelity, for those of you that don't know, is one of the largest investment institutions or financial institutions in the world. Now, he was the Director of Business Development for their kind of digital asset strategy and wing. And he, of course, now has joined as Director of Business Development and Financial Markets at the Hedera Foundation. He did actually release a tweet where he spoke about his excitement in regards to joining the HBAR Foundation. I want to share that with you because this could have huge ramifications for Hedera and really push it to where somebody like myself believes it's going to go. And of course, we know that there has already been a Fidelity fund tokenized via Archax, and Hedera was one of the blockchains that was selected. So that's really where we're going to start. John Kiko also used to be the Director of Equity Financing Sales at the Bank of America from 2020 to 2022, and also Bank of America Merrill Lynch prior to that. So very impressive individual that I'm personally excited to be on the board or have a senior position at the HBAR Foundation. And then I want to talk to you about a second bit of really interesting news, which is that a Peter Thiel, and anybody that doesn't know about Peter Thiel, he's the head essentially of the PayPal mafia. He has backed a project via Founders Fund that essentially is all about stablecoins. Very timely that they've came out and announced this on the back end of the Genius Act passing or progressing to that next stage. He essentially has backed a project called UBYX that essentially is going to leverage Hedera. So Peter Thiel, Founders Fund, are backing a project that ultimately is going to be used and utilizing Hedera. So just more pieces of the puzzle in regards to what Hedera is going to enable. Let's talk a little bit about John Kiko. Now, quickly, I'll just give you the history again in regards to this individual. He's now the Director of Business Development in regards to financial markets at the Hedera Foundation. He has a ridiculously impressive career ranging from Morgan Stanley, Lehman Brothers, up until, of course, 2008. So from 2007 to 2008, he worked as a senior analyst for equity derivatives, middle office at Lehman Brothers. Then he was a senior analyst in equity derivatives operations at Nomura. Then he went on to become a vice president of securities lending and secured funding at Morgan Stanley. And that lasted from 2010 to 2015, and that was over in Tokyo, Japan. Then he started as vice president of securities lending at Merrill Lynch in Hong Kong. Then became the vice president of equity swaps and sales at Bank of America Merrill Lynch. Then he started as the director equity financing sales at Bank of America. That was a full-time job from 2020 to 2022. Then, of course, landed at Anchorage Digital, which we all know in the cryptocurrency space. Then became the Director of Business Development at Fidelity Digital Assets. And now, of course, has been headhunted by the Hedera Foundation to be the Director of Business Development in Financial Markets. This could have huge ramifications for Hedera, and certainly this individual is going to have some amazing connections. And I think he's going to kind of solidify Hedera in regards to being in a good position as it relates to what's coming, which is the moving on-chain of finance broadly. So this is from John himself. He famously says, "I once called crypto a Ponzi, now full-time in it, building the future of financial markets, Hedera, and of course ex-Fidelity, Digital Assets, and Anchorage Digital." Big personal update. After an incredible journey at Fidelity Digital, I'm joining the Hedera Foundation as Director of Business Development in Financial Markets. A short thread on why now, what I'll be focused on, and where I see the future going. First, a massive thank you to the amazing team at Fidelity. You changed me, supported me, and helped me grow. I leave with deep gratitude and even deeper conviction in the future of this space. I think I certainly have that conviction, and anybody here also does, or that's been watching me for a while. That's why we're kind of all in this together. He goes on to say, so why make this move? Why Hedera? Why now? Well, it's simple. The technology is here. Digital asset regulatory framework in the US is imminent, and FOMO from TradFi is growing. We'll talk about that in just a moment as well. So it goes on to say, we're entering the next chapter, real-world asset tokenization at scale, stablecoins complementing traditional rails, AI plus blockchain unlocking new financial services. This isn't a vision anymore, it's happening, and fast. At the Hedera Foundation, I'll help financial institutions and fintechs, which he's came from some of the largest, by the way, just to highlight that once again. That's why I started off with this kind of repertoire or portfolio or resume, if you will. He's going to launch new products. He's going to democratize access. He's going to unlock operational and capital efficiencies, future-proof their business in a world of AI plus blockchain. This is somewhere Hedera's really been shining, I guess, in regards to there's a convergence of AI and blockchain, to kind of restrain and to ultimately unlock AI, a distributed ledger of blockchain, which Hedera isn't, but a distributed ledger is very useful. He goes on to say, Hedera isn't just another public chain. It's operated by giants like Google, IBM, and Dell. It's fast, secure, ABFT, which is Byzantine fault tolerant. Remember, the Fed spoke about and released a paper in regards to the future of payments needs to be Byzantine fault tolerant. Hedera sort of built out their systems with that in mind. Many DLTs aren't that. Again, makes Hedera more of an obvious choice. Energy efficiency and predictably cheap. I did a video on the Australian digital dollar launching and that being one of the reasons why Hedera was chosen to do that. And it's the most used chain. Interesting. Yes, more than Sol or Tron. The foundation supports builders not just with tech, but with funding, market access, and strategic guidance to make real adoption happen. DM to learn how Hedera offers grants to builders. I truly believe the digital economy will be powered on multiple chains, settling and tokenizing trillions of dollars, swallowing up traditional assets, and birthing new ones. We're finally ready to go from promise to production. So if you're curious about tokenized real-world assets, building AI-based applications on public networks, explore ways to collaborate, let's connect. It's day one. I'm excited, I'm energized, and I'm all in. It's almost like he's tagging us in this. Hopefully we can reach out to this individual and, of course, get him on the show sometime soon. So this is a major move. It's an exciting move, an exciting kind of capture by the Hedera Foundation. One we thought was exciting enough to comment on. Because again, if you look at my bet on Hedera is that it's going to play a major role in tomorrow's world, certainly financial world. The future of finance is on chain. It's going to be ran on DLTs and in doing that, create this kind of internet of value where value is moved in the same way that information is. I think Hedera plays a good role in that. It's certainly positioned to do so. We also know that Fidelity, certainly Fidelity UK, great to add funds from State Street, LGIM, and Fidelity UK to those available to be tokenized on Archax, available on several chains, including Arbitrum, Hedera, and Ripple. We covered this when it came out on the back end, of course, of last year. So that's huge news, exciting news. Going to be very interesting to see what takes place with John, and of course, interesting to see what kind of insight he brings to the table and experience and connections. Next bit of news I have for you guys is interesting. Peter Thiel, for those of you that don't know, is essentially the lead partner at Founders Fund. Now, Founders Fund have essentially invested in companies like SpaceX, Palantir, Stripe, Facebook. They were the initial investor in Facebook. It wasn't this basement story like people would have you to believe. Airbnb, Spotify, so on and so forth. I mean, these guys have founded so many successful companies. And Peter Thiel, of course, was the head of the PayPal Mafia. And the PayPal Mafia then went on to essentially found the majority of major companies on the internet. Now, Peter Thiel has helped this with, of course, Founders Fund. Just the other day, this is from Bridget, who is from Founders Fund, or at Founders Fund. She says, we at Founders Fund are happy to share our investment into UBYX, which we believe is a critical piece of infrastructure for stablecoin stack, or the stablecoin stack. Thiel-backed fund invest in ex-City Bankers stablecoin startup. Now, This is from, I believe, Bloomberg. It says 2 months ago, we released the UBYX white paper. Today, we announced a $10 million seed round led by Galaxy Ventures with participants from Coinbase Ventures, Founders Fund, VanEck, and industry stakeholders to diversify or deliver the global clearing system that will unlock stablecoin liquidity ubiquity or stablecoin ubiquity. So personally, one thing I look for is I invest in key DLTs like Hedera, XRP, XLM. There's loads of them. Join the Patreon. You can sort of follow us on that journey and be a part of it with us. But I also invest in projects that would essentially be the equivalent of PayPal to the internet. Some of these DLTs are the kind of internet, if you will, they're the rails on which it runs. There's going to be companies and projects that leverage that and become very successful, like PayPal did. A little bit of insight into something I'm interested in, and this potentially could be one. It goes to say, as regulations solidify, with the Genius Stablecoin Act coming to the final vote soon, which has passed, many new US-based stablecoins have been launching: USDG, USDB, potentially Walmart and Amazon One, etc. With only more to come. With this influx of new stablecoins coming, a clearinghouse product becomes necessary to make these interoperable and able to simply redeem in the way checks are. Too many problems, assuming there's hundreds of regulated US stablecoins, is very real, and there will need to be some sort of widely accepted structured protocol to make them fungible with each other. UBYX addresses the singleness of money questions around stablecoins. Before starting UBYX, Tony Stablecoin spent 20 years at Citi. So this is interesting. I'm actually going to reach out to this individual also, and she goes and say, we're proud to be backing Tony as his team at UBYX. And of course, we spoke about how successful Founders Fund has been. This is what they're essentially doing, how it works. And the Hedera Foundation also yesterday said UBYX, a new stablecoin clearing platform supporting Hedera, has closed 10 million seed funding round backed by several major crypto investors. Specifically, interestingly for me, Peter Thiel and of course Founders Fund, which have already revolutionized money once with the dawn of the internet. They're here again and are invested in quite a few projects, some of them big that nobody really knows about, positioning them for what's to come. And the fact that this project backed by Founders Fund is going to be using Hedera, amongst other blockchains, there's a few others on there, I think is big news and certainly worthy of covering. So huge news in regards to Fidelity's kind of head of business development in regards to digital assets coming on board with the HBAR Foundation. Also huge news in regards to a Peter Thiel-backed project doing what they think is going to be very necessary in tomorrow's world with stablecoins on Hedera. That's it from me, guys. I'm going to love and leave you. Thanks everyone for watching. See you all in the next one.